Hi, everybody. It's Julianne here from the Getcast podcast. And today we have a very special guest. And we're in a very special room in my homeland of Malta, the InSync Collective. And our guest today is a second AD from Malta and also from the UK. And her name is Sam Cassar Ellis. But most importantly, she's also an actor as well. So she has a very broad understanding of the landscape here in Malta and the UK. So please, everyone, welcome on Sam Cassar Ellis. Sam, hi. Hi. First of all, do you want to just give us an intro to who you are and the fact that you straddle both Malta and the UK and maybe how we met as well?
Yes, definitely.
Yeah.
I'm Sam.
Nice.
I've spent the last 9 years working as a freelancer within the film industry, mainly in Malta. I've only recently moved to London, and that's actually to focus on the acting side of things in the UK.
Work.
Whereas my ADing career, I do try very much to keep it to Malta.
Nice.
Because I do feel like once people know you as an AD, it's very hard to
shift
switch
that
over
identity.
from behind the camera to in front. So,
Totally.
yeah, Malta's my behind the camera and the UK is my in front of the camera. That's the plan anyway. How we met. We literally did just meet, but I feel like it was meant to be. And essentially what we're doing is working on shows, concepts, developing shows for the Malta Showcase that will hopefully be at the Edinburgh Fringe in 2027.
Yes, guys. So this is something really exciting that if you don't mind, I'm just going to expand on really quickly because a lot of my audience are from Scotland. Hi, guys. And essentially, our government is crazy with funding the arts, which is super great for artists like us who have a base in Malta.
Yeah.
And what they have done is basically release a training program where people can pitch ideas. We've both pitched one-woman shows, coincidentally.
Yes, we have.
About life.
And the shit show it's been.
Literally. But essentially, Arts Council is really great in Malta and funding lots of artists and really focused on internationalization, something which I feel is actually really lacking in Scotland. But we are having the opportunity to create something akin to the Made in Scotland showcase. So Made in Scotland, they're at the different venues, but we have to pitch ourselves to the venues. But what they are doing is training us and getting producers from the UK to give us an insight into the fringe and the landscape and operating there, but also paying our accommodation and funding us and watching shows to
actually
get
helping us fund ourselves to get there. It's
getting
a really
on the ground
amazing
experience in 2026 to go to the Fringe, get a lay of the land, and then next year the Malta Showcase will happen. So come. So make sure you come.
And what's amazing actually as well, I think there was about 30 applications. It narrowed down to 20. And we have already just become this one big family.
I know.
And even if all our shows don't get selected, we're already all kind of keen on helping each other out and being each other's backbone. And I think that is the foundation of everything,
and
really,
also
isn't
so
it?
Maltese as well.
It is,
so Maltese.
yeah.
And this is the thing that
we're all best friends now.
It's true. I was talking to my boyfriend yesterday and I was like, this is his idea of hell, by the way. I was like, I can't believe I get to be in Queen Margaret University with 20 other Maltese people. I'm going to cook chicken for all of us.
Why?
I was like, what?
No,
enjoy that.
We're going to have the best time.
We are. But to bring it back to you, tell us a little bit about, obviously, your foray into second ADing. How did you fall into it? And because in Malta,
I don't know if I can say the story of how it came about. No.
Okay.
It's a very Maltese way of coming about, where I had expressed to a friend how I did really want to get into film. I've never been the kind of person that has always known what they wanted to do. I really, sometimes I genuinely wish I was, but I've never had a clear-cut path laid out for me.
Which is fine.
Yes, which is fine. Yes, it is.
For anyone.
But I always knew film, TV, theatre, the arts was something I was drawn to more. So after I finished high school, I didn't go to uni. I just started doing a lot of short courses, tapping into film, development, script writing, all these little short courses, right? To kind of get a broad overview of what the film industry is like. Because how many years is it now? 12 years ago, 13 years ago, in high schools here, media, TV, film wasn't really...
Not fleshed out at all.
No, not at all. And even the theatre programs, I had 2 people in my class. There was only so much you could do with 3 people in a theatre class.
For context as well, Teatro Malta, which is the National Theatre of Malta, only got established really in 2016. So that's 10 years ago.
Yeah.
So
I feel like I was just before all of the film, TV, media, theatre and artistic courses started being a bit more implemented into like the education system here.
And funded.
So after I left high school, I did apply to uni abroad. I got in. I just didn't feel like it was the right thing for me at the time.
Where did you get in?
I got into Regents in London.
Very nice.
For a world theatre and acting course.
Nice. I've heard good things about these world theatre courses, to be honest.
Then I'd applied to Bath for film and TV, RADA, obviously. I was quite tricky for acting. So quite a few, but they were all really different as well. Some were focused on acting, some were focused on theatre, some were focused on film and TV. So even then, it was very clear I wasn't too sure what I wanted to do, and I kind of just wanted to do it all. So I started doing these short courses, and then I found that I was missing the acting side of things, and I really wanted to do that. So I joined Studio 18, which is what we have in Malta. Yes, I was part of Studio 18. And it was like the best. I found a real community of like young, passionate creatives, because I can't even say they're just actors, because they do everything. They are Swiss Army knives in their own right. Anyone that has been in Studio 18 has become a Swiss Army knife.
And in fact, if I can just mention as well, Andrea Juice, who was my first guest, who came out of Studio, a director, Fran Fenech, who was also a part of Studio, a very, very, very proficient stage and very efficient stage manager in Edinburgh as well. So like these people
and what I love about
this
Fran, she went to uni much later on than the conventional path of things. And I remember when we were at Studio at the same time, and she was a real inspiration. Fran, you're a real inspiration.
Fran, I love you.
Because she always wanted to do it, so she just applied and went, you know, at a later stage in life.
But came from Studio
But came from Studio and came from Jean pushing her, because
Jean,
that's what he does.
Jean himself is an institution.
Yes,
love you, Jean.
Basically, through Studio 18, I had expressed to Jean how much I wanted to try and work on set and get that experience. I'm a big, big, big believer on like hands-on experience.
Okay.
And anyway, in true Maltese fashion, Jean knew a guy and had told me you should just reach out, have a conversation with this person. And I was like, okay. And so I did.
Very cool.
I basically went for an interview, and they were hiring PAs for Murder on the Orient Express with Kenneth Branagh. That was filming here.
I didn't know that filmed in Malta.
Just 3 days, to be fair. But that was my first experience on a film set. And it was insane. They actually shot that on film as well. In my head, I thought, oh, this is the standard. This is the norm.
Wow. Like Breaking Bad.
Exactly. And it was just insane. We had the whole Wailing Wall built in Fort St. Elmo. Hundreds and hundreds of essays. And this was pre-COVID, so you had the amounts of bodies you saw on screen were the amounts you had. There was no AI, you know, CGI or anything like that. So it was just an insane set. Everyone dressed up in, you know, the correct period costumes. In summer, and I was a PA on that job. I did a good job, and they hired me for the next one. And then it snowballed from there.
So then from runner or PA, you got promotion?
In a sense. So I did a few, maybe 3, 4 jobs as a runner. Then I actually ended up working on a ITV game show that's shot in Malta called Cannonball. It was like a 1 series thing that didn't... It was at the tanks.
Pause. The things that get filmed in Malta, by the way. You should witness them, like Gladiator, Gladiator 1, Gladiator 2.
Yes.
Napoleon got shot here as well at some point.
Troy, Jurassic World, Dominion, and the latest one, which I don't know.
No or care about, to be honest.
So many hallmarks.
Like Channel 5
many
is
meet
full
cute
of Malta.
hallmark moments.
And Roadhouse 2.
Roadhouse 2.
So with Jake Gyllenhaal.
And also Malta gets scouted a lot for potential films. Like I know one of the Fast and the Furious was meant to be shot here, but because Jurassic they didn't want a similar landscape.
Fair enough.
Malta is so adaptable, right?
We were
Like,
just talking about how it's a good springboard.
it
in
is a
fact.
good springboard for everything. It's just a super adaptable country. And also the crew here is amazing. Like, they're so talented and skilled.
And they mostly worked in the UK as well. That's
Yes,
how.
yeah.
And at the same.
Not as in a lot of, I wouldn't say a lot of the crew locally worked
Crew, very no.
abroad.
Actors, yes.
Actors, unfortunately, maybe I would say, have to kind of
Yes.
leave.
Yes. They
And
have
to be
train
honest, they're only
elsewhere.
taken seriously when they
They
do.
have trained elsewhere. True.
I've heard many above the line people locally that, unfortunately, they look at locals as a bit inferior to people who have trained abroad, which is unfortunate. But I mean, I do agree that you do develop certain skill sets and get a bit more of a worldly view if you do leave the island. I mean, the island is 28
island.
miles long. No, 28 kilometers long. But there's just so much talent here.
There is.
I
and
think
it's
we need to stop
untapped.
overlooking it. Like, we really do.
Totally. And
Well,
I
they
think-
really do. I mean, it's not up to me, but
And
Yeah.
I mean, in Scotland we have a big problem. It's the same, as in a lot of imported actors from London or from England are put into main roles when there are actors who are just as good, who can actually do a native Scottish accent, like we
Yes.
don't need to put it on, and then can't even feed their children because of the lack of like a circular economy, which also is why I say internationalization is really lacking
Yes.
over there. But to bring it back to you and your second
yes. So essentially, I was a runner. I got into an ITV game show. Production
Canon?
manager really liked me, and I ended up working in the UK for a year on The Chase, Ninja Warrior, and all of
What?
these. Yes.
You met Bradley?
I was his personal PA.
Oh my god! I love him. My god!
Literally
I love
for
the
a
Chase.
season. I know.
Wow.
It was surreal. It was a really nice I mean, I was just really, I don't even know the word, overwhelmed, to be honest, to actually go to the UK and figure it out myself, because basically this production manager was like, just get all your paperwork in order and I'll hire you, no problem. So then immediately, like, I needed to start, this was pre-Brexit, so I could go. On my European passport, but went there, got all my paperwork sorted, my right to work, blah, blah, blah. Started working on these game shows. Did The Chase, did Ninja Warrior, did the Pride of Britain Awards, which was incredible. It was the same year as Grenfell and the Ariana Grande concert
Shooting.
attack. So it was a really inspiring show that year. And no, I just met so many people. And again, working abroad, there is just this different rhythm to hear. But I suddenly felt it just felt a bit mundane and stuck. And it actually, I did find it quite hard to break into the British crews.
Okay.
I did get a bit of like,
So it's like a bit secular. In a
I mean,
sense.
it's clicky. I think every industry is clicky.
the UK,
But I did feel, when you're born and raised in Malta, you do feel different, I guess, in a sense. I'm not sure if this is making sense.
It makes total sense.
Yeah, so we're very friendly in Malta. We all have each other's backs, or at least my way of working is I always like to help people around me. If I see I can give them an opportunity or get people together that suddenly,
Wouldn't be necessarily.
I don't know, if there's an opportunity there with someone and someone's saying, oh, I'd like to work in the art department and I know someone's looking, I'll link them.
not?
I always try and push and
not?
help people
Again,
out
so is
because
the Maltese way.
it's the Maltese mentality. And I didn't feel that at that time in that industry, like in those specific
It's
jobs.
the same. I think the big factor in the UK is the fact that like they're just so not willing to take risk because there is so much going on and like, it's a much bigger landscape, fair enough, but also the economy is really suffering and stuff like
Yeah.
that. That like risk is something that people cannot take, so they have to know the
Yeah.
people and rely on them already.
That's it. And once you establish, I mean, I am the same. If I've established a relationship with crew and I know they have my back, because ultimately at the end of the day, that's what you want, people that have your back. You kind of keep going back to them. You only really do change who you hire on your team if they're employed elsewhere. But basically, after that stint in the UK, I did want to come home. And I got another opportunity on a biblical feature that was shooting here. With,
course.
under the wing of Beppe Abella, who is my Mr. Miyagi, and I love him to pieces.
Amazing.
The one of the only, literally only local Maltese firsts, but now he works in Norway, so he's left us.
Okay.
But basically, I worked with Beppe. We got on like a house on fire. I was a third AD on that job. No, I wasn't. I was a cast PA on that job. And basically, you just establish a relationship with a team, and then I kept getting hired. Eventually, I got stepped up to third AD trainee on a job called Carmen. Then, after that, I did another third ADing job, kept doing third AD jobs, and then COVID hit. And because of COVID, like, I had a great time during COVID personally. Like, the film industry kept working. We only shut down very temporarily. Jurassic World Dominion came to shoot.
Yep.
We could keep working. And then post Jurassic World, when smaller shoots came to Malta to film, they couldn't bring as much foreign crew with them because of COVID.
It forced them to use
So
local
it
talent.
forced local producers, production managers to
Get recognized.
recognize that their crew could do more and we could step up. So I stepped up to a second AD. A production manager really trusted I could do it. He gave me the push, and I'm super grateful for him for giving me that opportunity. Essentially, 3 out of the 9 years, I was runner / third AD / cast PA / whatever. But then for the last 6, I've been a second AD.
Okay.
And I've also managed to first AD shorter films,
Projects,
like
okay.
little local ones, which I love. I really do like the local, smaller
There are some great local
productions
Maltese films as well.
Yeah.
If you haven't like looked up Lutsu, I think it's a really
Yes.
fantastic film as well.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's a
Yeah.
great like story.
Yeah. So it was, I guess, through COVID that I was able to step up, and then I've just done it ever since.
Nice.
Yeah.
And so what does, because obviously we've talked about this a little bit before, you've, like many people in the arts industry, have worn many hats, like to get to the position that you are now, where you
Yeah.
can be like a second AD and also want to like dip into acting as well.
Yeah.
Or not even dip in, just want to
Yeah.
take acting on seriously. Don't want to patronize you, sorry.
No, not at all.
Um,
It's a funny, being a second AD and wanting to act kind of feels like always the bridesmaid, never the bride.
Yes.
Like, that's the best way I can explain it.
This is.
No, because you are there. So essentially, actually, I'm not sure if anyone knows what the hierarchy of the like directing
Give
team
it to
is.
us, run us
So
through it.
you have your director, then his or her right hand is what we call the first AD. They're actually the ones running the set, calling the shots, yelling action, yelling cut. They have to know exactly what's going on in the director's brain because they're literally an extension of the director on
Got
set.
you.
The first AD will then have their right hand, which is the second AD, which is what I do. And I am usually back at the production trailers, unit base, planning the next day. I'm working on the call sheet.
And yes, it's on the call sheet.
Always on the call sheet, guys. So essentially, the second AD works on a document called the call sheet, and that's Bible. The call sheet literally has everything from what's being shot on the day to what cast are in. If you've got essays, if you've got animals, if you've
time
got
of day,
special effects. It's telling you what you're shooting, where you're shooting, and what is needed in order to get those scenes shot. You need to know what every department is doing at all times. You need to constantly communicate to all the departments for changes because changes are inevitable when there are
Yes.
so many moving parts. You're juggling a lot. You're also just dealing with human beings, which in high pressure situations is an entire job on its own.
Which we'll get more into. Sorry.
Yes.
Microphone.
There is a little ones. And you're also really babysitting cast.
Okay.
You're making sure they know what's being shot. Again, if changes are happening, you need to communicate them. You are running them through the morning at unit base, getting them through hair and makeup, wardrobe, taking them to set. There's a lot going on for the second AD, but they are offset. Then on the floor with the first AD, you have the third AD, which is essentially whatever the first AD needs doing, the third AD makes sure is happening. And then the third AD will have a key set PA and all the PAs, depending on the scale of the show. Because you can even have a floor second if you have massive...
So you have a floor second and someone who works behind the
Yeah,
scenes.
usually you'd have a floor second if there's loads of essays, if it's a very big
So like a
crowd,
Jurassic
heavy.
Dominion.
Yes. or
Napoleon,
Gladiator.
or Gladiator.
I mean, the AD team on that was
No,
insane.
I know
I
there
didn't
are
work on it
hundreds of
myself,
it,
but the AD team was massive.
But thank God as well, hundreds of Maltese people were employed on that
Yeah.
set in the background, as in actors in the background, as well as like the costume department was hired locally because they've been here before.
That, and also the film commission makes sure that
There's a
locals are
quota.
hired. There has to be, in order for foreign productions to get the rebate, they need to hit a certain quota of Maltese personnel, exactly, within each department. Every department has its own quota. Again, I don't know the specifics on it, but they do push for locals to be hired
Which is, again,
above
so useful.
foreign people. Usually, the above the line roles, which are your director, DOP, the creatives,
Cinematographer, yeah,
production
yeah.
designers, so on and so forth. 9 times out of 10, they are foreign.
Foreign. Yeah. Yeah.
And then obviously, if they have their people, you know, the people they want on their team, they do bring them with them. So if a director has a first AD that they always work with, they will fight and 9 times out of 10 get that person to come with them. And if that first AD has a second AD they always work with, that can kind of happen as well.
And am I right in saying you had a small stint in casting as well?
So there's a UK system of ADing, there's the American system. The German system's a little different. And depending on the system, the second AD also handles casting of essays
Okay.
or featured essays. So never principal cast.
Okay.
And on some of the jobs, I have been in a room where I need to kind of, together with local casting agents, kind of give them the brief of what essays our director wants and what featured roles we're looking for as well.
So you're the
bridge.
The bridge.
The
between
bridge, yeah.
The director, what they want, and then the actual casting
Exactly.
agent, what they can give.
And then if the director is, you know, too busy, as they usually are, let's say you get sent 12 options, you yourself would sit down and narrow it down to
Right.
4. So I've had a small taste of that as well.
Very cool.
But it's usually been very generic. So if it's, for example, for a biblical epic, you get sent sheets and sheets of people and faces, but it's clear on a biblical epic you can't have tattoos.
Yeah.
It's just problematic. It's problematic for the makeup department when you've got massive groups of people. They don't have time to cover head-to-toe tattoos. No modern haircuts, no dyed hair, no highlights, no
really
crazy piercings.
Super helpful tips, guys.
No, and it's not to say don't go ahead and do it, but it's just time is money on these sets, right? And unfortunately, again, we're not talking about main principal cast here, but featured roles, which are a great springboard to go from, you know, being an in the
It's good on the
essay
CV.
category into main cast. If you've got crazy dyed hair, piercings, tattoos, modern haircuts,
Unless they're looking for
filler, Botox, and all of that, you're just going to be pushed aside because there's no time to cater for it.
Got it.
I really hope that doesn't come across as disrespectful in any way, but it's
That's
just
the industry.
It is the industry. And again, this is for a biblical epic. If it's a modern day
Punk rock like movie.
whatever,
You're shoo-in.
yeah, then sometimes it's like we need someone that's covered head to toe in tattoos. So
Tattoos,
you
it's
look there. So it really does depend on what you're going for. So
Yeah.
as an actor, if you know your look works for period films, TV shows, whatever, which are massive at the moment, maybe
Lean
don't
into it.
go get lip filler right now.
Yeah,
You know,
maybe.
because it could literally just come down to, again, that. Like sometimes I am left with 2 options and I will have to take the options to the hair and makeup department to say,
What can we work with?
like, which one is easier for you to work with? Because if you've got a modern buzz cut, but we're shooting 18th century England and we need to get you a wig,
Girl.
but the other person has long untouched hair, as it's just cost effective to go with the other person.
Yeah.
Again, if the director prefers the individual with the buzz cut, you make it work. But if the director isn't bothered, it will come down to these nitty gritty, which one is easier logistically, basically.
How fascinating. You know, it's
Yes.
something that you don't even think about. But at the same time, like we're often, as in And I really agree with the notion that you have to construct yourself, whatever that might be. If you want
Right.
big lips and go for filler, go for it. If you
No,
want
go
like a
for
nose
it.
job,
Yeah,
go for
yeah,
it. If you want
yeah.
tattoos head to toe, go for it. But then what's for you won't go by you. So like
Exactly.
like the things that like will come your way for your reason.
Exactly.
It's just a
Yeah.
whittling out. So you just have to go with who you are, what you present, and then
And just,
say it.
yeah.
But it's really, really good to know that if you're like umming and ahhing about that tattoo or not tattoo, maybe
It just
don't
comes
get
down
it.
to it. Yeah,
maybe
true. I
if you're
mean,
trying to do the responsible
and
thing.
nothing's personal.
Yeah.
That's the thing. But
Yeah.
then it just comes down to so many nitty gritty things.
Yeah,
Like
so
there's
technical.
this world of films. I'm not gonna name the specific world of films, but they are very clean cut. So I remember being asked to select essays. Again, essays are always just deep in the background. You rarely see them. Sometimes you do when they say you're not going to see them, so it's always tricky. I remember being given the brief of we don't want overweight, we don't want facial hair,
Very
and we don't want any bald people.
Very fascinating.
So sometimes it also depends on like the production house,
Yeah, the team.
the entity behind what they're presenting to the audience. And there's, a world of films where everything is blue skies and rainbows and that very
Thinness.
generic idea of beauty,
Fascinating.
right?
Something
So
I don't
you'll
think
sit
about.
there and, poor Bobby, who is bald, like, what can he do? What can he do? He's great. He's been on set a million times, especially in Malta. You get to know the essays so well. So
And they love doing it.
They do. And then you know who you can trust. You know who's up to the task. And it's amazing. But if the guy doesn't have hair, what
do you do and what does
you can't
he
do
do?
anything
That's
about it. It's so subjective. It's
know.
not personal. But it does come down to these nitty gritty things. But then going on to, I think, something else that is quite interesting. So in my acting world, I've kind of joined these communities of like these groups of actors on like WhatsApp groups and stuff. A lot of the time, some messages that come up on this group is actors complaining and really insulting the production for being so unorganized.
Okay.
Because it's 12 p.m. the day before they're meant to shoot and they don't know where they need to be.
Right.
So they start saying, I'm going to get my agent involved because this is ridiculous, this is crazy, this is unfair. How do they expect me to plan my day? Blah, 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 blah. If you are lucky enough to be cast on a production, you would have received a schedule in advance, a shooting schedule. And on that schedule, you will have what's being shot. And you usually do have the time, the timings. If you haven't heard from your second AD at 12 p.m. the day before you're shooting, firstly, you're not going to hear from them until the final call sheet comes out. Now, that call sheet takes all day because the second AD, every time they are sat down trying to work, your phone is blowing up. You've got people in the office talking to you, asking questions. You're putting out fires that are happening that day, preempting fires that might happen a week from now. You're dealing with the cast at unit base there and then. So they will not be thinking, damn, I haven't told Johnny he's in at 7 a.m. Just message the second AD. That's like my biggest advice. They're not scary. They're not scary people. They're just busy, right? But take that initiative. Don't go to your agent to have a go at the second AD who's been given a go by everyone on set.
That's really important.
Just
to
have the
know.
due diligence. And just be like, hey, Sam, haven't heard from you. I know I'm shooting tomorrow. Do you have an estimate?
Yeah.
I would be like, I'm always so overjoyed when an actor texts me because I sit down, I'm like, oh, shoot, yes, let me give you a rough idea, but know that the final call time will be out with the call sheet because that is Bible, right?
It's on the call sheet.
But it's just about, as an actor,
Having a wherewithal.
it's just having that awareness that you're not the only element of the day. There's so much going on. So just do that due diligence, if that makes sense. I don't know if I'm being clear.
I think
Just
this is
pick up
really
the phone,
clear.
send a text.
I think this
You
is
know
really
if
clear.
you're shooting tomorrow, most likely it's going to be a 12-hour day. If you see on the schedule that it's exterior daytime, you know it's going to be an early call time, right? You potentially have the hours of shoot anyway. You know you're probably going to be in an hour before call time to get through hair and makeup. As an actor, learn how to read schedules. Learn how to read call sheets.
Yep.
Don't be the actor that sits down and expects to be told everything and to kind of be
Explained to.
or given the silver spoon. And again, I don't mean this to sound patronizing, but the reality is
it's an ecosystem.
It's just an ecosystem that is running at 1,000,000 miles per hour.
Yes.
So I don't know, it really pissed me off a lot of times when I see actors shitting on production, because what they're talking about, is the second AD, because that is their point of reference.
Yes.
The second AD is your only contact on a production. ADs are not production. They're two very different worlds.
Yep.
Stop asking ADs for anything contractual or money-wise, because it ain't them. Learn the difference between the production team and your assistant directors. Honestly, it means the world. And just be a bit, proactive in your approach.
Totally. I'd love to pick up on two things that you said.
For sure.
There.
Sorry, I've been rambling,
No,
but I think it's important.
This is why I really wanted to get you on specifically, because you've been in the world and now you're on the other side of it, and you know how to behave yourself and how to act and how people should generally behave themselves in social normal situations. Like if someone forgot to tell you what time their birthday party starts, you message them. You don't refer to your mummy who talks to their mummy.
Exactly. That's kind of it,
So two things I wanted to pick up on really quickly. You said if people are lucky enough to get cast in something, and I actually think this is so true. Like obviously that can sometimes come across as patronizing, but it is literally luck of the draw, especially as we're talking when there are so many variables at play. Literally, it could be because, I don't know, you have two nostrils and someone has one and they need someone with one nostril.
Exactly.
Like
it's never personal. It's so subjective. I mean, I've also been in situations where, because cast number 1 on the call sheet is brunette, you can't cast a brunette.
Fine.
Which you would think, well, there's a whole hair and makeup team. But again,
just
money,
no time.
Time.
And so that is one thing I really wanted to pick up on. The second thing was the proactive thing, because if anyone's watched the first episode with Andre, this is something that we really honed in on, the fact that like actors need to introduce themselves to casting directors and agents, but in the same sense, we need to have like sentience. We need to know that like we're not, as you said,
you're a cog in a wheel.
We're a cog in a wheel, and
exactly.
if we're to make it work and actually be called in again, why not work diligently and like a human being? And also, there's no need to like be pointed about it. There's no need to be passive aggressive. It's just there's a lack of compassion within the industry that I see in the UK constantly, and there's a lot of pointing the finger, which doesn't get us anywhere, guys. So again, thank you for like saying it as it is and laying it out as it is, because again, your experience as being behind the camera is invaluable to us and how we should be behaving ourselves, guys. So approach it with sensitivity and always like know that like it's not on purpose.
No, never.
We're not like keeping information from you know what I mean, like because they
no one wants to keep information from anyone. 10 times out of 10, the reason I won't send you a call time first thing in the morning for the next day is because I know it's going to change about 6, 7, 8 or 9 times.
But we might not know that.
No,
so
you might
we
not
need
know
that reassurance. We need to get that reassurance.
Exactly. But just again, if you're cast on anything, TV show, film, whatever, your point of contact is the second AD, and they're nice people. They are. they have all the information, and if they're not giving you some information, it's probably because they don't want to confuse you or they don't have it yet.
Exactly.
It's not someone not doing their job.
Yes.
Another thing, I will just say, there has been. We work with technology. Sometimes technology messes up. If I have 300 Sarahs on my email,
for sure,
and I have accidentally sent a call sheet to another actor instead of the actual actor I need the next day. Again, this goes back to my point of learn how to read a schedule diligently, and you know, on a call sheet you'll usually have the advanced call sheet, so you can kind of, if you're cast 7 and you see yourself in the strips on the schedule, you know you're in.
Yes.
If you suddenly don't receive a call sheet, you don't hear anything. How do I say this diplomatically? There has been occasions where actors have taken it very personally and will therefore not show up the next day. And the response will be, well, you didn't send me the call sheet.
It was obviously, there was a mistake in this.
It is a mistake. It's not a great mistake, as in my fault, my bad, or the second AD is bad.
But again, that
But again-
proactivity could have just bridged the gap between.
Just send a message to your second
but
AD.
that's pride. That's pride.
Which there's no place for it on a film set. Get rid of it. Ego,
We're
pride.
making art, guys.
Get rid of it, please. Like, let's shift this world and generation of filmmakers that like thrived off pride and ego. Like, bye.
And that and again, like it comes down to like sometimes actors, because of the amount of effort we have to put in, and you'll know this, the amount of effort we have to put in by doing our outreach, by actually getting to the point where we are on set.
Yeah.
We sometimes
But it doesn't stop
make
there.
it emotional and demonize.
Yeah.
But that's not, again, that's no behavior anywhere else
No.
in life. So why would it be?
And again, it just would be a quick, hey, I'm meant to be in tomorrow, but
Right.
I didn't
Yes,
receive this call
yes,
sheet. I would freak out, apologize, and be like, oh my God, thank you so much for having my back.
And then, what's the likelihood of you getting called in again? Probably higher, because you're easy to
When you're
work
that
with.
type of performer, actress, actor, in this day and age, you can't just be an actor anymore.
No.
You can't.
Money is
If you
money
just
is
have
time.
that-
Time is money, and all of it is
Yeah.
limited.
Yeah. And it's just a case of we're all human, we all make mistakes. Again, your AD team is juggling every department.
Yes.
Cast are definitely top tier priority, but mistakes do happen. So just like I'm
to schedule.
meant to know what's going on with everyone, you are meant to know based off of that schedule that you would have received before signing on to the project,
Yes.
potentially, what days you're in. And that is a big difference I see with actually, I hate to make this kind of comparison, but foreign
And local.
actors and local. I've been on many productions where I have to pick up the phone to cast and talk through the whole schedule and pinpoint their days, and
And that's foreign.
to locals.
Okay.
Foreign won't ask because they foreign cast are so used to it. They know what the schedule looks like. They understand when they're in.
They know
It
how
is
to read the
very
schedule.
time consuming for me to pick up the phone to a cast member and walk them through the schedule of what days they're in. I shouldn't have to do that. There's also a
Take notes,
production
locals.
document which we call the dudes, which are the day out of days. And that is a document that specifically is an overview of all the shooting days, right? It's a calendar. So we'll have the days on the top, 1st May, 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th. And then your cast number, your cast ID and role. And then there'll be a dot on some if you're using one program, or there'll be SW, which is start work. That's your first day of work. And then on any days that you're in, it will say W.
So helpful. So helpful to know.
You know? And then it will say WF for work finish, and that's your last day. At the end of this document, it summarizes how many working days you have.
It's split
Again,
out.
without sounding condescending or anything, it's like
It's
that
all
document,
there.
it's
all
there.
Yeah.
If you have questions about it, no problem. But do not expect to be spoon fed.
Yes.
Because again, as an AD, there is just so much going on
Yeah.
all the time.
Love
And
your AD, guys.
like, please
second
love your
AD.
ADs. Love your ADs. They are running everything and getting blamed for everything all the time.
Actually,
Show them some love.
I saw an interview recently with one of these big hotshot actors.
Daniel Radcliffe.
Was it Daniel Radcliffe?
I think it was.
And he was talking about like the ADs, the one who's yes, it was.
It
Daniel
was,
Radcliffe.
right?
And he was like,
Yes.
the ADs are
Yeah.
just like the magic. Like they make the magic
They
happen.
are.
Like they are the turning cogs. So guys, love your ADs. Know how to behave. Read your schedules. And at the end of the day, be a human being.
Yeah.
And know that it's like they have nothing against you, and you should
No.
have absolutely nothing
And they're
against them.
approachable. You know, like we are
Of the
approachable.
food chain, I'd say you're the most
Yeah,
approachable,
exactly.
if anything.
But if you have questions about anything, let's say you're struggling to understand the schedule, it's fine. It is complex. It is a weird document. There's so much information on there. I wouldn't say it is laid out in the most proficient, easy to read way. I totally get it.
Fine.
When you're in the morning, just go up to your AD and be like, this
What
is a
does
bit
it mean?
confusing. Can you explain? But again, due diligence, proactivity.
Why not?
You know?
And we are, again, we can be. And
You
we
can
have,
be.
We have
You
to
have
be
to
to
be.
make it in this day and age.
You have to be.
So really quickly, I just wanted to go for some quick fire
Yes.
questions really quickly. So spotlight or no spotlight?
With what hat on? As an AD or as an actor?
Let's go as an actor and like a casting AD.
Okay. So as an actor, yes, I absolutely love Spotlight. I find it really helpful because I can just send that to any casting agents locally,
And it's all
and everything's in one place.
And not every local person has a Spotlight
Not
account.
and
in
you do
Malta.
stand out in Malta if you have a Spotlight account.
sure.
It does kind of elevate you from other
Everyone else,
performers. In terms of casting, for the same reason, everything is one place. Everyone knows Spotlight.
So thumbs up Spotlight.
Yes, go for it. Get Spotlight.
Agent or no agent?
Agent. I don't have one yet, but I'm trying to get one. But yeah, again, for the same reasons as Spotlight, having an agent, you're a cut above. They've done the work. They know you can perform. They know you're a hard worker. It's just kind of having another stamp of approval.
Absolutely. And also, it does not mean, however, that you can be passive if you have an agent.
No.
We will say that.
Again, your agent is not going to get you work. You need to keep fighting for it. They just have
will,
your
but
back.
Like, you can do a lot of the heavy
You have
lifting
to do
there.
a lot of heavy lifting, yeah.
So in terms of a Spotlight, because you said yes, would you rather have, especially from the casting side of things, someone with amazing headshots and no show reels, or good headshots but amazing show reels?
Amazing showreel. Movement.
Amazing show reels.
You're hearing voice, you're seeing facial expression. Again, silly things like if you're full of filler and Botox and you don't move, that's
can see
something
it.
they need to know. So, no, showreel.
So even from like a really clinical casting
Yeah.
perspective of like how you are and like your visual, that's really good. Also, it can just show what you can do.
Exactly.
acting-wise.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Working in film or working in television?
I've done both. I've worked on TV shows and film. Ooh.
Where is the vibe higher?
I don't think I can answer that, honestly, because it just depends. I think with film, independent films are the best instead of these big franchisey blockbusters that have so much pressure with them. So like the small niche Lutzus of the world are my favorite. Love those. But then TV shows is fun, especially as an AD, because there's just so much happening. There's so many arcs and so many things going
And
on.
people.
Yeah, and it's usually probably a longer, in terms of the financial aspect, having a TV show
contract.
runs longer. So it's just nicer to be employed.
Screen or theatre to watch?
Screen.
Nice. And screen or theatre to work in as an actor?
Screen for me.
Perfect.
Yeah.
And favorite project that you've ever worked on in terms of second ADing and in terms of acting?
My favorite project actually was I first AD'd this one, which I loved. And it was recently, it was this year. It's called Dolce. And it's basically a film that was shot for the Malta Pavilion at the Venice Biennale.
Beautiful.
Director is Charlie Kauki, who I absolutely love. Again, it all came down to just being a small, tight-knit group of professionals that love what they're doing.
And make art.
There was no ego. There was no pride. Everyone had everyone's back. And it honestly was so much fun. Like, I just woke up excited to get to
Bliss.
set.
Amazing.
So Dolce for me, as a first AD, but as an AD working behind the camera, that was amazing. Acting-wise, what have I done? Oh, yes. I think the funniest experience to date was being choked to death in bed by Noah Jupe.
We'll leave it there.
So
Say no more.
that was, quite the experience.
Fun.
Yeah.
And so, lastly, I just wanted to ask, I usually ask people who come on the show who are industry professionals, especially if they have had if they're a director, if they've worked in casting, what do you think my cast type would be? So if you had to cast me in something, do you think like, oh, she's coming of age, oh, she could play really young? What kind of like...
So I think definitely you could play coming of age very young.
Thanks.
I very much see like the Amy Lou Woods of the world
what a
with you.
compliment.
No. I really do. Like the sex education vibe, the very quirky sidekick best friend
Amazing.
character that everyone loves. Like you are always going to be the favorite.
Thanks.
That's what I see. But then I also see period dramas as well.
You know, Madonna. Wait, I'll say this and then
Little
we'll wrap up.
Women, the Saoirse Ronans. Yes.
That's literally,
yes.
I have a note on my... I'm getting headshots at the end of June, and literally Joe from Little Women is my number one.
Yes. Yes, very much. I do see that too.
Amazing. So that fills my heart with absolute joy. But I got told, I heard one of these coaches who are like, oh, you could be like a nurse, or like you could be like, look at these kind of like strong but really highly intellectual, blah, blah, blah. And for period, he said, would you cast yourself as upstairs or downstairs? And I was like, well, I'd see myself more as upstairs because of the curly hair, the blue eyes. And he was like, no, you're more of a downstairs, like a maid. I was like,
It's always so tough. I've never really been able to pinpoint my casting type either.
it's useful to do it though.
Yes,
It's a useful
it's always been a
exercise.
difficult one.
You want me
Yeah.
to do you?
I mean,
No, I have no idea how to cast. That's why I'm doing
No,
this.
no. Yeah.
But guys, so to kind of like sum everything up, obviously, I would, from what you're saying, it is really helpful to have that experience of working behind the camera as well to then springboard to the in front because you know how to
Yes.
behave. Guys, remove the ego from anything that you do. Remember, we're all here. We're all making
Yes.
work as a team. Obviously, there are certain instances that will be, detrimental to us or whatever that we need to take up and
Yeah.
take seriously. But having an awareness and knowing how to read schedules
exactly.
is the takeaway from this episode
Yeah.
with Sam. Thank you so much
You're
for coming
so
on, Sam. It's
welcome.
been amazing. to
Can I
get to
just
know
give
more.
one more maybe nugget of advice,
And
which
we'll
I
end on
found
it.
that helps me now that I'm kind of focusing more on acting.
Mm-hmm.
Having had the experience behind the camera
Mm-hmm.
allows me to not take rejection as harshly as I probably would if I didn't have the experience on set. So,
Absolutely.
my advice would be if you have the opportunity to just be a PA, a runner on a film set, do it once. Just see how the world runs on set. And I think it would really help then. It just helps you gain an understanding of what it means to be on a set, which is like detrimental.
Invaluable as well.
But I think mentally, it can help with that rejection because you can kind of just see that it's not
Absolutely.
really personal.
Something I really struggled with. So, Sam,
So-
I'm going to leave it at that because
Yeah.
that is such a nugget of advice, guys.
I'm glad.
And thank you so
Thank
much.
you so
again.
much. This has been great. Thank you
Have a
so
great
much.
day. Thanks for next weekend. Bye.
Yeah.
Bye, guys.
Bye,
Listen in
everyone.
for next week.